My sister told the hotel staff I wasn't part of the real family and canceled my reservation. So I walked out. Hours later, my grandfather froze all their financial support, saying, "Family bonds are built on respect, not lies." Now their lives are falling apart, and I feel liberated. On Thanksgiving morning, as I woke up in my Chicago apartment, the familiar anxiety crept into my chest. Another year, another family reunion. This year's gathering place was the Breakers, a luxury resort hotel in Palm Beach, Florida. It was our annual family trip, with all expenses covered by my grandfather. While doing the final check of my suitcase, I let out a deep sigh. I gazed at my reflection in the mirror. I'm Helen Walker, 33 years old, a research director at a pharmaceutical company, earning $160,000 a year, and living alone in Chicago. I've steadily built my assets through careful investments. Money is important, but dignity is even more precious. My grandfather's words echoed in my mind. He's a successful businessman who made his fortune in construction. Everything I know about financial management, I learned from him. Since childhood, he enthusiastically taught me about investments and asset management. He's the only one in the family who truly understands me. In stark contrast is my sister Catherine, a former flight attendant turned full-time housewife. She lives an apparently affluent life with her husband and 7-year-old daughter. However, this lifestyle wouldn't be possible without monthly support from our grandfather. Their high mortgage payments, car loans, and their daughter's private school tuition are all covered by his assistance. Still, Catherine's social media is flooded with glamorous posts, new designer bags, dinners at expensive restaurants, luxurious vacations. She seems obsessed with portraying a lifestyle far removed from reality. My parents are similar. George and Margaret appear to be enjoying a comfortable retirement life in Florida. But that too wouldn't be sustainable without grandfather's help. Their retirement fund planning, the deposit for the upscale retirement home, everything depends on grandfather. My parents have always been cold toward me, but indulgent with my sister. That hasn't changed since childhood. During my college years, I covered my tuition with scholarships and earned living expenses through part-time jobs. Meanwhile, my sister relied entirely on our parents for everything, from study abroad expenses to living costs. The disparity remains a painful memory. Become someone who can stand on their own feet. That was another of grandfather's sayings. I've lived by those words, studying and working desperately to become independent. I built my career in the pharmaceutical industry, grew my assets through investments, and created a life that needs no one's support. The high-rise apartment overlooking Chicago's skyline was earned through my own efforts. Moderate luxury within my means, that's the life I've chosen. As I lifted my suitcase, anxiety about this year's Thanksgiving grew stronger. Every year, our family's distorted relationships only deepen. My sister's competition for appearances, our parents' biased affection, and grandfather's worried gaze. In the taxi heading to the airport, I contemplated this year's trip. The Breakers, a prestigious 5-star hotel established in 1896, features Italian Renaissance architecture and luxurious suites exceeding $800 per night. The Thanksgiving special dinner was said to cost $200 per person. Despite the glamorous setting, our family's reality was fragile and distorted. My sister's luxurious lifestyle, our parents' comfortable retirement, all were castles built on the sand of grandfather's support. And this year, those distortions were about to reach their breaking point. Everyone must have noticed, yet no one dared to speak of the reality that now awaited us. Through the taxi window from Palm Beach International Airport to the Breakers, Florida's gentle sunlight streamed in. On Thanksgiving Day, I arrived at the luxury resort under pleasant weather. I was the last to arrive. Pulling my navy Rimowa suitcase, I stepped into the Italian Renaissance-style magnificent building. My simple yet elegant theory dress had slightly wrinkled during the long flight. The lobby spread out as a clean, dignified space. Above, luxurious chandeliers sparkled, and below, footsteps echoed quietly on the marble floor. Other guests were already enjoying their Thanksgiving afternoon, in their own ways. On my way to the front desk, I spotted my parents. They appeared to be discussing something in a secluded area of the lobby. Mother was wearing what looked like a new resort dress, while father was dressed casually, appropriate for his age. When our eyes met, they quickly looked away. "Miss Walker, I apologize, but I cannot find your reservation." The front desk staff's voice was apologetic. They kept checking the screen repeatedly, unable to hide their confusion. "I can see the reservations for your family members, but..." At that moment, the sound of expensive heels approached. I turned to see Catherine walking toward us, with a triumphant expression. Her Hermès Birkin bag was on her arm, and a Cartier watch gleamed on her wrist. "Oh, Helen, finally made it?" Her voice carried deliberate sarcasm. The front desk staff continued checking the system. Other guests' attention began to turn toward us. "How strange that there's no reservation." Catherine's voice rose in volume, calculated to draw attention from those around us. Her Louis Vuitton suitcase stood out conspicuously next to my navy case. Actually, Catherine stepped closer, wearing a victorious smile. "I only made reservations for our family." Her words echoed throughout the lobby. "A room for me, my husband and daughter, and one for mom and dad. Just for the real family, you see." A moment of silence fell. The front desk staff was speechless, and our parents turned their backs even further away. The air around me felt frozen in an instant. Taking a slow, deep breath, I said without changing my expression, "I see. Then I'll leave." My voice came out calmer than I expected. Readjusting my grip on the suitcase handle, I politely nodded to the front desk staff. Taking out my smartphone, I opened the taxi hailing app. "Wait." Catherine's voice rose slightly, but I was already preparing to leave the lobby. Feeling the sympathetic gaze of the front desk staff, I started walking toward the entrance. My sister, though caught off guard by this unexpected development, maintained her triumphant expression. Our parents stood awkwardly, frozen in place. Only the sound of my footsteps echoed through the silent lobby. The afternoon sunlight, streaming through the main entrance, felt oddly bright. While waiting for the taxi, palm trees swayed in the pleasant breeze. The Thanksgiving holiday I was supposed to spend at this luxury resort had ended in just a few minutes. Yet, in this moment, a strange sense of liberation spread through my heart. Grandfather's words resurfaced again. Become someone who can stand on their own feet. Now I felt I understood the true meaning of those words. During the few minutes waiting for the taxi, I gazed at the hotel's magnificent exterior. The Adam-style architecture told a story of over 100 years of history. Decorated lavishly for Thanksgiving celebrations, luxury cars kept arriving with well-dressed families stepping out. Through the lobby glass, I could see my niece, Amy, wearing an expensive dress unsuitable for a 7-year-old. She was fidgeting behind her mother. Perhaps she was looking for me. Every Thanksgiving, it had been my tradition to bring her a present. This year, I had prepared a pearl hair clip. It was still beautifully wrapped in my suitcase. As I got into the taxi, I told the driver, to Palm Beach International Airport. On my smartphone, I was already searching for the next available flight to Chicago. Though airfares are expensive during Thanksgiving, that didn't bother me at all. Rather, the emotional energy I'd wasted every year during this season seemed far more costly.
Now comment update to tag you on part 2.